way? How have you been? I almost feel like you're just so perfect for like I was checking your Instagram stuff. Although I've been spamming you and stuff like that, you're sharing everything. That
I got you, man. I
you
got you.
didn't you didn't block me after the third time I did it, and we
No,
actually
it's all
did
good.
go
It's all
like
cool.
viral twice, even though the third
Ah,
one
nice. Well, that's all that
didn't.
counts, isn't it? All adds up.
Yeah. Dude,
If I did it on my Instagram, that'd be great. If I was half to commit
dude,
to yours as well as to
honestly,
mine, it'd be great.
putting together like so that's kind of like the dream,
Hmm.
the long term dream, build up the community, build a network around the community. So it's not I'm not I'm my yeah my brain's probably just going on overdrive right now. I'm not just limiting it just to like Discord or just like effective fitness. Like, I would also
Hmm.
want to like build up influencers. Maybe start with like personal trainers. Um, just start doing a bunch of stuff where it just like upscales into everything that's like just absolutely amazing, right? Um, and yeah, and I think, like I said, I think you're like a perfect fit because I work well with you. You don't get annoyed with me after I spam like spam like 6 times in a week or stuff like that. But yeah, if you do want to do that, trust me, just do the clips in the way that I suggested. Like either like in a gym or have like a dumbbell, have something in your hand. I think having stuff in your hand works really well. Or do something that's gonna get like a reaction. This depends on the type of reaction you want to get.
Yeah,
I've
there's that.
suggested maybe wear gloves as you're giving your advice,
Right. Okay.
because that's like a trending meme right now. Um,
Okay, man, I need to get my meme. Like, and you send me like this making software or whatever you have because
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like
I
I got a
just
good mind for
follow a bunch
memes,
of
but
memes. Yeah, but yeah, the meme basically is so there are different ones. There's one where there's a guy, he meets his girlfriend's dad, he shakes his hand, um, and then I think he says something like, oh gosh, I've butchered this meme. It says something like, your hands feel
that's great.
soft, you must wear gloves at the gym or something like
Right.
that. Like just like I don't know. And then there's another one like they basically just people shitting on people who wear gloves to the gym pretty
Oh,
much.
fair. I
So
get
you
really
could do
lame, and the
that.
glove just reminds me. Yeah.
Yeah, or you could I don't know, what's a good one, or you could just have like a random like shaker bottle of protein, just keep shaking it, just random stuff, just to keep, because basically just to,
It's eye
and this is,
tension. It's like a shiny. Look at the object. Look at the object.
yeah, like just like the summary of like the research that I've been doing with like just social media stuff, and Mr. Beast does it
Hmm.
really well. You know how he speaks like a million miles per hour, and if you look at like the
Hmm.
new trend with like, I'm certain you probably follow like the Twitch streamers, like the Neon guy, Aiden Ross and all these other stuff. A lot of them, it's like very instantaneous, like hyperactive, OCD, attention disorder issue type retention,
Yeah,
and that's
slightly
why,
concerning. Yeah, my
yeah,
sister
that's
was
why
good
it
though.
works like really well on reels and stuff like that. And then I realized why Kenny Powell's his memes are working for like our Instagram accounts, is because that's
Hmm.
basically who he is, right? If you've seen
Hmm.
Eastbound and Down,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, he's basically like that. He's just like OCD, weird, like think like basically you think like this is the normal projection of a conversation, and he goes completely left. Um, he works really well because he's a comedian, and people have been utilizing it. Mr. Beast does it really well. Um, you know, you know, name that should never be mentioned. Andrew Tate obviously did it really well to his own
yeah, yeah,
detriment. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
basically, with all of these things, it's just like implementing it in the better way, right? And yeah, so
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and I think we could do really well. Right, time for me to make this post. Ah,
Let's go.
yeah, and so much has been happening this week. Viral posts, Instagram growing, people doing their powerlifting meets this month. Just so much happening, stuff happening at work, stuff happening in personal life. Just yeah, just just a
All
fun,
systems go,
easy
man.
week.
All
Yeah, all
systems
systems,
go.
no, non-stop. Do you follow music by any chance or anything, or
Yeah,
um,
man.
do you listen to like Drake and stuff like that?
I haven't got to new album yet. I've heard it. I've heard it's not good.
Oh, There's so much drama around it.
Yeah.
Let's see if you're actually truly one of the boys. Do you know Joe Budden, or have you seen the drama between Drake and Joe Budden?
No, I haven't, to be honest.
Oh no, it's all right. It's all right. I was just wondering
I'm
how
old.
far.
I'm old, man. I'm old.
No, no, no. Joe Budden's like really, really old. He's like he made a song called "Pump Pump Pump It Up." But yeah, there's some drama. He gave an honest critic of the Drake album.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
but Drake flipped out on Instagram on him and just completely
Oh yeah, I've
there's
heard
some
about this. Yeah.
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 Did you see on DJ Academics Instagram stuff? But yeah, just stuff that I'm following and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah. Anyway, right, back to
Finger on the
effective
pulse, man.
fitness.
Finger on
Yeah,
the pulse.
yeah. Let me just quickly post this just to see if we can get people rolling in. People must love me in this server. I swear to God, right? At some point, I just stopped caring because there are some servers where Chris.
Oh, I noticed there's a Freudian slip in my post as well. Oh, terrible.
What happened?
No, I sent you last time. I saw it. I forgot about it. In the last line, the description for myself, specialize in helping gamers and streamers double their energy without reducing their gaining time. It should be gaming time,
Oh
but we'll
crap!
present. We'll
Crap! Crap!
pretend that's clever. We'll pretend that's clever. We'll go
Oh
back.
yeah, yeah, just leave it in. Welcome, 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 guys. Everyone's joining in. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Gio. Hello, your
Hello.
random name. Hello, Key.
I always try to pronounce a
Invite him.
random name as a random name until I remember it's actually a random name. And done it
Just say
every
that
single
around.
time.
Sad.
A random
Oh
name.
gosh, the names, guys. If I butcher your name, you're welcome to roast me. Welcome everybody who's joining in. V, I really like your name. We'll just wait for more people to roll in. Invite your friends, share it. This is probably going to be the most viral podcast of all time. You are witnessing history in
Odds
the
are.
making. People who are leaving, they do not know what they're missing out. All jokes aside, I think this is probably an average amount of people that we're getting in. Oh, welcome Gav, welcome everybody. More people to come in and welcome Envy. If I haven't said your name, really sorry. Use the chat, mention me, spam me. Not really because I might ban you, right? So basically, this is an opportunity for you guys to come up to the panel and ask your questions. I'll give Chris an opportunity to quickly introduce himself. There is a short description in the message that I gave. If you do want to come up, raise your hand. If you want to do a text version of your questions, please feel free to just
Please do.
let you guys know that I'm not going to really read it properly. If you want, if you guys, oh yeah, please follow us on the Twitch, the Instagram. We had like a viral post and stuff like that, the YouTube, etc. And please stay to the very end. Yeah, Chris, go ahead, introduce yourself.
I love that. Hi guys, how you doing? I'm Chris. I've met quite a few guys in the forum now, but I'm still Chris. I'm a strength trainer. I'm a fitness coach. I've been training people for 14 years now. I'm turning 30 in under 3 weeks now. So about old age pension perspective, I got you there. I've done all sorts of training. I'm currently specializing on helping gamers and streamers get in shape, improve their energy, improve their streaming consistency. But I have covered all sorts of training myself. I'm happy to take any questions on anything, or just here to be roasted, which I get quite a lot on Discord recently, so that's fun. So anything.
Perfect. Gav, I think you raised your hand. Feel free to come up to the stage and ask your question.
Or I can keep talking if that's going to fill the awkward gap. That's fine.
Gav, are you there?
People coming in and coming
Welcome.
out. Oh, okay. Hey.
No worries.
Sorry. Was in a world of my own for a second.
No worries. How are you doing?
So my question is, why is the go-to for step count 10,000 per day?
The go-to is 10,000 because someone decided that number arbitrarily. It doesn't mean anything. It's literally just someone who had to do the pedometer creation decided 10K was the best number of steps to do. It's good to aim for as a start. I don't do 10K steps, but then again, I do 30 minutes of cardio every day. So aim for 10K, that's good activity as a start. But 10K is just an arbitrary number someone pulled out and decided we'll go for that, and no one's challenged it subsequently.
Fair enough, thank you.
No worries. Any other questions for you here?
No, not at the minute. Can't really think too much at the minute.
Perfect. Thanks for asking
No
the
worries,
question, Gav.
Take care.
Feel free to stay and listen through to the very end. Envy, welcome to come up.
Hello there. I have a question. So I want to lose weight and gain some mass. What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, good question. Quite vague. So lose some fat, gain some muscle. I presume you're doing some weight training 3 or 4 times a week. If you're a new
Yeah,
beginner to lifting, yeah, if
yeah,
you're
I
new
go
to
to
lifting, you can do both. That's good. Make sure you sort your protein out, get your calories in order. If you try and do both, I'd recommend going for about maintenance to start with, especially if you're a new lifter. That we can start building some muscle, getting some strength, and you start recompositioning, which is losing fat and building muscle at the same time. Just get on a good strength training program, get cardio in 2 or 3 times a week, some slow, steady cardio. So into cardio 2 or 3 times a week, and you'll be well on your way to a leaner, more muscular build very soon.
the thing is, so is my diet is really poor. What's the best way for my diet organizing? Because my diet is really poor. What's the best way to organize my diet?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're building a diet, basically try and find foods you like that fit the main categories you need. So as a priority, make protein a priority. So any good source of protein, lean meat, eggs, lean dairy. If you're a vegetarian, all sorts of options, seitan, tempeh, tofu if you need to, that's fine. Try build protein to each meal. So 3 meals a day, ideally, up to 4. I like 4 feedings myself, but 3 servings of protein a day are good. Then build in some vegetables and sort of greens, anything you like that you can tolerate for that. I know not everyone's too keen on vegetables, but make sure you try to get some in at least once a day. And then build it in with filling carbohydrates. So low density carbs such as potatoes are a great source for that. Basically build your meals around those 3 things and you can't go far wrong. You can add protein shakes if you want to, but they are supplements and they are additional. They're not core to the diet. They're to supplement it as well.
Okay, so this is my last questions. So is it good to do fasting? Because I have some of my friends who also do like, fitness and stuff, and they said fasting is really good for you. Is that true?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot to do with fasting, and I did intermittent fasting for a long time actually. I did it for about 2 years. I did the Lean Gains model, which is 16 hours fasted, 8 hours eating. And it works. It's fine, but it's basically all fasting is pretty much just a way to restrict your calories. So if you're having trouble losing weight because you're eating too much throughout the day, if you reduce the eating period, you're going to be too full basically during the eating period to eat too many calories. So it's not ideal for a muscle building perspective because I'd rather have 3 or 4 servings of protein through the day just to spike synthesis. But if you're trying to lose weight, it works. It's not a magic bullet. It's not going to make a big difference, really. It's just a way of organizing your calories in the day. And yeah, so you can try it if you want, if it fits. I did it because it fit my schedule really well. I didn't want to eat early in the morning. So I started eating about 11 a.m. Went to college, didn't eat until 11 a.m. Ate a snack, ate my lunch, then ate my meal after I trained, and finished about 7 p.m. So that was a 8 hour fed period, 16 hours fasting. You can do it, but for a muscle building perspective, I wouldn't recommend it really. It's not the best way to do it. It will work, but it's not the ideal way to do it.
So okay, this is for my final question. So what I've been told by a bunch of fitness trainers that I go to the gym to, this is good to have for example, have breakfast, have lunch, but skip dinner. Is that good for you, for your body or not?
I mean, you can do it, but basically, if you just reduce the feeding frequency, you can increase the size of the meals when you eat. So you could end up having a bigger meal for breakfast and for lunch if you're not eating a meal in the evening. So you can do that. It's just a way to organize the calories. If you want to build as much muscle as possible, I'd recommend having 3 or 4 servings of eating a protein a day. So 4 feedings, I suppose you'd call it. So it could be breakfast, lunch, a snack, and then after post meal snack, and then your evening meal. But I don't recommend fasting if you're trying to build muscle. That's not the best way to do it.
So what's the most effective way to lose weight? Because I'm currently trying to lose weight and I'm struggling on losing weight. What's the best way of losing weight?
Sure. So if you're trying to lose weight, the main thing to do is have a calorie deficit. So we're presuming you are not a teenager, you're an adult, you're the most you're growing already, for most of it. So
I'm
you basically
19.
want to have you're 18. Okay. Well, we'll allow 18, that's fine, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. 18's fine.
I'm
So
19. I'm 19.
19, that's fine, also fine. So yeah, I recommend a small calorie deficit. So maybe 300 to 500 calories per
Wait,
day
dude, you're just
deficit.
making up your age. Like, wait, you're just 18 to
It did
19 in
change. It
like
did
a
change. It
second.
did change. It's
I'm
21
19. I
next.
said 19. He didn't listen to me. He didn't listen
Okay,
to me correctly.
yeah.
Sure. So a calorie deficit, 500 calories a day or so, that'll lose about a pound a week. Make sure you're strength training and still trying to improve your strength. That's key. You want to keep training hard. I don't believe in changing your training from gaining to losing weight, really. I think you should still be trying to build muscle and strength every session. Build in some cardio into it, 2 to 3 times a week, some half-hour zone 2 cardio. So that's when you can have a conversation during it, but it's not very comfortable, you don't really want to. And stay the course. Don't do any big drastic cuts, especially at 19 or 18 or whatever age we choose to be. And stress the process. So keep building muscle. Don't try to do a drastic hard cut because that will make it harder for you to hold on to your muscle, and also it can lead to bad dietary habits and issues with food later on. So that's what I'd recommend.
Thank you so much for all the information. I
welcome,
really
man.
appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime. Take
Thanks
care.
for joining, dude. I hope you have a great day. Feel free to ask more questions in the server. Stay to the end of the podcast because there's only like 3 of us. And appreciate it, dude. Gio, feel free to come up to the stage.
Hi guys, hi Chris. Okay, so I guess I'll ask a few questions. So once you've been lifting for like a decent amount of time, let's say like 1 to 2 years, and you stop making progress weekly, like you stop making newbie gains, what would you say a person would have to do? Like what could be done to continue progress as it slows down
Yeah, excellent
for a
question. I
beginner?
tend to get more. Yeah, absolutely. So as you get past the beginner phase, like I was talking about recently, as you get past the beginner phase, obviously your gains will slow down, not just in muscle but in strength. So when you get to that point, I think the main thing to prioritize is getting stronger over time. I think that's the best way you can guarantee you're building muscle and making gains in the long term is to increase your strength in every lift. So, for example, in your triceps, you want to build triceps stronger every week you can. It's not going to be every week, of course, but make sure you focus on progression over time. So rather than linear progression for double progression, you could do it to triple. Sometimes you can have to increase your volume a bit, but I would focus on intensity, working very hard in those sets, and focus on getting stronger over time. If you get stronger over time in all your exercises, there's no way you're not building muscle. I would avoid going into a big panic and adding loads of calories. I would focus on the quality of your calories, make sure you're getting the protein in, try to get some micros in, because that's once you've got the habits of going to the gym regularly, that's when you've got a bit more space to think, actually, maybe I should eat something green for a change. You can start going some more health benefits to it. What I think also really helped and actually benefited my training a lot is, so I hate banging on about this, but getting in some cardio as a strength trainer, someone trying to get stronger, build muscle. I think cardio is extremely underrated. I think if you get in 2 to 3 sessions of zone 2 for half an hour, 40 minutes, as I mentioned before, that's an intensity that you can hold a conversation, but you're not really comfortable doing that. I think that builds a lot of work capacity. So I think one of the big issues I think people get stuck in the beginner phase is because they stick to a lower volume approach and they get stuck in how much the body can recover from. So I think if you build up your recovery capacity through some cardio, you can then work harder in those sets, and that's how you can continue getting stronger over time.
Okay, one more question. How do you how do you when you're trying to get better, how do you get disassociate with your ego? Like that feeling of wanting to try a 1 rep max when your program clearly says you shouldn't do it.
You just do the 1 rep max. No, you don't. You don't do that. Yeah, I can attest to this. It's very tempting just to go for the 1 rep max. I think the idea, what you can really do is try to see your training in longer term and maybe build it into blocks, but realize that you're going to be training hopefully for the rest of your life. People that tend to realize that when they start lifting, they think they'll get all their gains and they'll be done. They don't realize that lifting does go on and life goes on for quite a long time, hopefully. So if you're having difficulty getting your ego in the way for 1 rep max, either I suggest having a break from the exercise entirely and doing to a new unfamiliar exercise. That way you've got some gains to build into it. You can keep feeling stronger and that easier. So it's like rotating exercises, not like in the whole west side rotation kind of thing, but I think just changing to a slightly different exercise, maybe going from a dumbbell bench to a barbell bench. Or the best thing for me, I find actually, that's what I find the best, because I've had a lot of time training with barbells for a long time. The best thing you can do is getting something that you can't compare the lifts to. So say a machine, for example. just something in which there is no context to compare to your previous lifts, and you've got new standards to create, such as the plates on a loading for a cable machine rather than a barbell plate. I think having a different measurement, a new way to work into it, is a great way to do it. For 1 rep maxes is very tempting, but I would try to work to say to different, or increase your 10 rep max instead, just to give something you can still build strength over time. Probably easier to add some weight to a 10 rep max than it is a 1 rep max. And it gives you another way to feel the success and the progression. I think that's a key thing, to keep focusing on small wins in training. So instead of going 1 rep max, change to a 10 rep max, or a barbell to a dumbbell to a machine. Anything that gives you a slight novelty that you can progress and grow into, which gets you away from the temptation to max out every time, which I do feel very primarily every time I go in the gym. So it's not just you.
To be honest, those are very good answers. I'm just going to give a meme answer. Gio, just stop working out when your gym crush is working out. Dude, why are you trying to 1 rep max every lift that you're doing? That's crazy. That's like mad lad. That's suicidal. You there?
Yeah, man. That's funny.
Or just wear a large hoodie and no one will see you. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I'll become the gym creep.
Right, continue.
Mm.
Did you have any other questions?
Okay.
Did anybody else have...
Last question.
Okay.
What does it mean to have realistic expectations? Like, this
Ooh.
connects to my previous question. Like,
Yeah,
now that
yeah.
I'm done with my beginner phase and things are really slowing down, I'm trying to figure out how I know that I've actually progressed enough to go up in weight on a certain exercise or not. Like, what would be a realistic expectation or a way to figure that out?
Yeah, sure. This is actually a really good question because I see it in this channel, to be honest. Well, it's a channel, is it Effective Fitness a server? Is it a channel, AO? Correct me. But I see it quite a
Server.
lot. And server, there we go. On this server, I see it because there are some incredibly strong individuals on this server. Channel, got it wrong. Server. And it's really easy to compare yourself to these people and their lifts. And I think you're not doing well in comparison, especially when someone's very young or someone who's made very quick gains in a very short period. I think what you need to do is focus on yourself. You need to realize that your journey is your own journey, it's not anyone else's. So whatever anyone else is doing isn't really relevant. Focus on adding the extra reps to your lifts. Focus on the extra couple pounds to a lift. Realistically, as you get past the beginner phase, you're not going to be adding weight every single week. But I think if you can keep working harder, go full Coach Greg, work harder than last time. There's always a way you can improve a set. If it's, let's say, adding weight to a rep or weight to a set or reps to a set, you can perform it better. There's still ways to improve even if you're not adding weight to the bar. So if you have perfect execution, you can do a faster rep on the positive, you can control the negative more well. There's always ways to improve that aren't just straight up adding weight or reps or sets to it. So there's always ways to improve the quality of your lifting and become a better lifter through that, and that does add up over time. Otherwise, to improve, you can work, like I said, your work capacity through adding some cardio, getting fitter, getting healthier, getting stronger. It's not always going to be a direct journey, a trajectory week to week. But if you look at the months and then the years, like I'm 14 years into this, and I'm not exactly adding weight every single week, or else, I've lifted all the weight there is. So there are ways to improve. You can get leaner. You can go through a fat loss phase. You can go through a muscle building phase. You can go through a phase of working on the power list if you want. There's always things to do in fitness that aren't just directly adding weight or reps every single time. So quality of lifting is a big thing. Quality of your physique and your general health. You get to a point where you don't worry about gains and you worry about your health a little bit more as you're approaching 30 like me. So I think there's always ways to improve and get better without just adding weight to the bar every time. Sorry, I kind of rambled a bit there. Apologies.
No, that's really good. Serious response. Yeah, I also kind of like preach this to a bunch of people. Learn a new skill, right? Especially when you're active in like a Discord server like this. There are a bunch of people. You see people like 14 and 16 who were like breaking like states world records and then like going into like nationals or like doing crazy lifts. It can make you feel like you're not really doing anything that's great, but realistically speaking, there are so many skills just out there that are just so easy to learn that can bring so much joy to like most people. A good one, that I always suggest to people is skipping. Even like what do you call it, mountain biking, stuff like that is really good. Like just those skills that you learn you're already better than the average person, and those skills are just something that you can enjoy. Like if you like listening to music and skipping goes well together. Learning skills like handstands, and rather than having really amazing like shoulder press or overhead shoulder press or whatever, you can learn an handstand, right? Or rather than doing amazing like lats pull down or deadlifts, you can learn how to do pull-ups or do a muscle up, right? You can learn those skills that are functional, really good, something that will make you happy, and something that you could just record it, and like 99% of human beings who see it will be like, wow, that's amazing. And you can get that also sense of like self-worth and validation just from those type of skills. Because I see a bunch of people, even at the gym, because I'm more of an hybrid trainer. I see a bunch of people at the gym who destroy me in like deadlifts or whatever, and I just casually do like muscle ups or like warm up, and then they're asking me questions, and it makes me feel better about myself because unlike Geo, even if my gym crashes at the gym, I still lift light, because I don't want to risk injury. That was
But
a joke,
anyway,
by the way. um, yeah, but yeah, hopefully that was a valuable contribution.
All right. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you, thanks for
I'll
asking.
be I'll I'll be off the podium now.
Thank you, see you, dude.
yes, man.
Take care. Does anybody have any other questions? I can see a random name has some questions in the text. Really hate you for this. Do you want to come up and ask the question, please? It does well for the podcast, and it also I can't be asked to read questions.
I can read if you want, man.
Okay,
I'll read the question.
go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, Chris. I wonder if you exercise for years and already gained significant amount of muscle. Does doing calorie maintenance help with leaning out, or do you need to go on a calorie deficit? Let's say you're also adding cardio. Sure. So if you lifted for a long time, built some muscle, trying to lean down a bit. So what I did actually recently, I added cardio and accidentally started leaning out. So I didn't change my calories. I didn't change anything else. I still train same amount hard, but I added cardio and I'm slowly leaning out. So that is creating a calorie deficit. I also believe doing some cardio helps your body break down fats better as well. So I'll keep preaching to Peter Attia's book, Outlive. He's how I got into the cardio hype. So you will need to have a calorie deficit, but you can create it by either eating fewer calories or by increasing your activity. I generally don't like advising doing cardio for fat loss, but in this situation, it would work. Yeah, that would work. You will need to have a calorie deficit of some form. And you're welcome, Arandoname, as I'll still pronounce it every single time I read it.
Random Name. Oh, okay, I can see where you get it from. Random Name. There you
I always presume it's some anime I haven't seen before.
go. Yeah, because basically the M, the N, and the ending just like, merges it all. I think V has a question, and JY might be
Oh, sure.
typing.
I've been drinking a lot of water, but I often see signs of dehydration, like my hands being very dry. Get some moisturizer, man. How much water should a 160-pound guy drink? I couldn't give you a straight recommendation for that, man. It depends how active you are, what's going on. There's probably some form there about your body weight times ounces of water, but it's probably still a little bit low. I would say aim for at least 3 liters a day, and then top it up as you need to. Like most people are chronically dehydrated anyway, so when obviously heard the classic thing of by the time you're thirsty, your body's already slightly dehydrated. So do what I do and have this enormous, this like a 1.7 liter, the 1.8 liter bottle I take to the gym, which is just this comically huge silo of a bottle,
Standard
and just
gym
drink through
bro.
that all day. Is what I do. Oh, it's huge. It's not like a big gallon one, like a big hamster wheel one. It's just an enormous
yeah.
one that's incredibly phallic, which is,
Yeah, I have one right next to me.
not compensating, but
Yeah.
this man's writing an essay, or is he just left his keyboard going?
JY, do you have a mic? It will be so much easier and better for like the stream just to come
He's
up.
begging you, man. He's begging you.
You sure you don't want to come up? Might be easier. Like, there's nothing to worry about. Don't be worried about like being shy or whatever.
Yeah, pretty intimidating up here. So
Yeah.
just typing. You could type.
No worries.
no, man,
Finish
it's
what
fine.
you're typing.
He's
That was
just
just a
ruined his
joke.
whole message now. He's got to start again.
Oh no! It's just...
You ruined it.
He's deleted it from his clipboard by
Oh.
accident while he was responding. Oh gosh.
Oh.
But
Which
yeah,
that
anyway,
means something.
guys,
I got
thank you very much. Please make sure to support Chris as much as possible. Follow him on Instagram. Let me just quickly get his IG.
and
And
put
yeah,
my website up. I've been on a hype recently. I'm writing an article every day. So if you've got any recommendations for articles you want written on stuff, I'm trying to make a commitment to writing and publishing a article every day on my website. So anything you want to see on that, happily taking recommendations for that.
oh, perfect. You do blogs as well, dude. You're
Yeah,
literally
man.
perfect. I'm gonna message you about the blogs. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, man. I'm writing every day at the moment.
you're like
You can see
godsend.
my.
Basically, plug your blogs on the Reddit. I think we've reached 51 whatever. Free promo there, just add it there, maybe do like a short description of it, plug it there, add your
Yeah,
link to your stuff, go ahead. Go wild and free. But yeah, I like the whole concept of gamers into fitness because I think that's more like or fitness for gamers. I think that's more like realistic. I think I've already mentioned this multiple times because and it's kind of like it gets overwhelming because there are people who DM me. They're shy of asking their questions in public because they feel like it's intimidating when they see a bunch of people who are like
100%.
and I always say
100%.
that to a lot of people. Like the most like reassuring thing that I always tell people is go to a public if you feel like I don't know. I think someone was like, I think they were 16. They were asking me about how they can they feel like doing like 150 kg deadlift is too low for their age. How can they improve it? I was like, dude, you're
Mm-hmm.
16. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
the best way that you can get like a reassurance and like reality, because obviously if you're online and you're looking at TikTok and you're like, oh, this 16-year-old,
Oh
okay,
God.
posted the message. But yeah,
Jesus.
you see like this 16-year-old done like 200 kg or set like a state record or whatever. It might feel like ridiculous, but if you go to like a public gym or even in your school records, you probably destroy them. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, for
JY,
real.
thank you very much for the question.
You want me
And
to read it?
Chris is just going to kindly read it for us.
Sure. How do you recommend approaching fitness for younger users without specific goals in mind? And just many of the younger members join the fitness world with goals entirely opinion based on their body image views. Very true. But then they don't know where to start. So, oh, I read it like that. So, someone that's not a bodybuilder, powerlifter, athlete, that are confused on how to take that first step, what do you suggest they start at while still discovering their fitness goals? That's a really good question. Thank you for that. So, I think anyone who starts getting into fitness should start building a foundation for a healthy lifestyle going forward. So as a teenager, you're growing, obviously, anything's going to work. Anything you do to improve yourself will work very well. So I always say start establishing healthy habits that work now. So one of the best things you can do is learn how some basic cooking. I think that's a life skill everyone should have. I see so many men who are terrible cooks or don't cook. I think that's a real shame because food is delicious and it should be. You shouldn't be eating boring food all the time. So learn how to do some basic cooking, learn how to eat some good proteins, learn the vegetables that you like and try new things. Now's a great time to try new vegetables. Your palate's still developing. Make sure you're getting sleep. I see so many teenagers staying up on Discord until 3 in the morning, getting up for school, and then just thinking they're doing great. They're not. You're surviving, but you're not thriving, which sounds really cliche, but it's true. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're going to the gym and just trying different exercises. Try all the go in there, try all the machines out. Don't max it out, but just give it a go. Learn how your body feels. Feel how good it feels to move your body. And let's say it's going to be cliche and cringe again, but the blessing your body is that you can move, you can do things, you can jump, you can run. Don't get stuck into that. I have to build all the muscle I can straight away because you don't. You've got a whole lifetime to build muscle. You're at the very beginning of your journey, and realize that that time feels passes very quickly at the moment, but also you've got a long time to learn with different skills and habits and all things you can do. Build good habits now. Try everything out. Don't avoid doing things. Don't do what I did. Get really into lifting heavy weights and then go to university and not really do any sports because you're afraid of losing your gains. No one likes that guy. Seize every opportunity you have. Play sports. Play as many sports as you can. You don't have to be good, but you need to try. I think playing sports as a teenager gives you a fantastic foundation for all sorts of fitness. Run, sprint, do swimming, go on monkey bars, body weight stuff, try that out. You may like calisthenics. You don't know what you don't like yet. You don't know what you do like either. So try all sorts of things out and don't focus on maxing out the weight. Don't really worry about what else is doing, but learn to enjoy exercise and fitness. I think that's the thing people really struggle with. People who start later in life or even people who see it on TikTok, they think fitness is this obligation or this thing they have to do. They think if they're not making crazy progress or looking amazing in the mirror, they're not improving it. But fitness should be improving your energy, improving your outlook. It should be giving you so much to your life. It adds so much. It shouldn't be this slog, and you also shouldn't be bringing yourself down by what you look like all the time. You should be celebrating what your body can do, which isn't max weights all the time. It's just all sorts of exercises. So push, pull, squat, jump, all sorts of things. I kind of went off with a big spiel about that. I don't want to miss anything in the question. Yeah, and you can also go into powerlifting later. Just because someone is lifting, 500 kilos at, 14 years old, don't compare yourself to that person. They're not you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at all. There are so many people in the world. There are genetic outliers. There are people willing to do things you don't want to do. It's all sorts of smoke and mirrors. Just focus on how fitness and exercise and moving can improve your life, and you can enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy it and get good, healthy habits that will set you up for a lifetime of being fit and healthy and jacked as well. Yeah. That was quite a spiel. Sorry about that. That's why I found my mic was turned off.
No, that's yeah. I find out that you're not be talking, but yeah, that's actually really perfect, and I think it works well. Just as a good segue with what we're talking about, because it's something that I think is going to become more and more of an issue. It's like and I think people always say that, like, reality always tends to try and correct itself. I do remember, like, maybe when I was a teenager, there was the whole body positivity thing, and people were like happy to be obese and stuff like that. Now there's all this like fitness craze and all these other stuff. I think it's just life correcting itself. But for 99% of people, just being at least like the best version of yourself already puts you ahead of like majority of people in the world, right? You don't need to compare with like people in Discord or TikTok, or if you want to do powerlifting, you don't need to start looking at people who are like doing amazing powerlifting meets. You can do it as a sport, you can do it as a hobby, you can just have fun doing it. And if you're comparing your progression with other people, you're never going to be satisfied, right? Even, and I think a good example is like, if anybody knows C-Bum, I think he did a really good like message about that. Like, with him, he's like, there's even though he keeps winning this, there's no end. Winning is part, what do you call it? Is building competitions. There's no end. Like, he even said it. He said he doesn't think that people should see him as like an inspiration, because at some point it becomes a sickness, because you're never going to be as never going to be as best as your best. He said it in a better way. Just follow him on YouTube. He does all these other stuff.
I doubt it.
Even if the best bodybuilder of our generation is going through it mentally, just think about, like, don't put yourself in like the body dysmorphia or skill dysmorphia level of issue. Just focus on being your best self, and you can simply just see it with like your family members, right? You'll have family members like, oh my gosh, you're so strong, you're so amazing. And you might not think it, but because they're normal, regular people, like, oh, you're so strong, you're so amazing. And that just helps out. There's small little things. That's my small addition. Did anybody else have any other questions? I think Kiki had one. Don't worry, I've got this one. You can calm down, Chris. I've got this one. I've got this one. Easy one.
I'll take a seat. I'll take a seat.
No, just kidding. What do you think about body recomp?
I think it's a thing. It's good. Body recomposition. So if anyone's listening doesn't know what that is, it's going through a period of improving the composition of your body, which would be reducing the amount of body fat and increasing the percent of muscle in your body. I think that's good. So generally people will say they're going for a period of maintenance, try to recomp. I think that's fine as a beginner, but as you're more advanced into it, I think it's better to go through a slight deficit period and then back to a building period afterwards. But I think if you keep maintenance, add some cardio, you can recomp. I think that's fine. And this is just from a general person's point of view. As a bodybuilder, you probably want to go through more dedicated gaining and leaning phases. I'm trying to get rid of the whole bulking, cutting terminology, but I got roasted for that last time. One of the many times I get roasted on Discord, which is always fun.
Well, you got roasted on Discord? What, text
Man,
chat?
I get roasted all the time on Discord. I got screenshots for it. It's hilarious. I post. It wasn't in this place. I put my physique up for someone. They said, "Oh, I'm a natural lifter, 19." I put my physique up, like, and it wasn't posted because I don't do very bodybuilding poses. I don't do crazy lighting, crazy pump, crazy shade or anything. And I just got completely wrecked by this guy who hadn't been to the gym before. It was hilarious. I've got it somewhere. It was It was
Don't
amazing.
worry about that.
How do you only have that physique after 14 years? Just curious, no weird shit. How do you have that physique after 14
Oh,
years?
is that
Do you
what
not do you not
someone
go
said?
often or do you not go often or not eat right? I was like,
Yeah, yeah. Some people are just like toxic like that. Like, and most
I
people
think
never really
I don't.
understand like different training, different goals, and also not even that. Like, I have a mate who's like he's just so strong, but he looks fat. Most people won't understand that
Mhm.
he's like a power lifter. Like, whenever I'm around him, most people would think that I'm stronger than him. And I have to explain to people I do not lift heavy. I could lift heavy, but I'm scared of it. I do not want to die. That's my biggest thing
Mm.
because before I got it, I come from my mom's a nurse. My what do you call it? My uncle's a doctor. My sister's a
All right.
pharmacist and psychiatrist. I
Oh
come
wow.
from a health, yeah. I come from a health, and I decided to be a software engineer, right? I come from like a health and
Fuck all
healthy
that.
living family. So before I even got into sports, I can remember like one huge lecture that my mom gave me when I wanted to do like rugby because in school I can remember like, oh, I really want to do rugby. It's like, no, you can't do it. You're already fast. Just run track and stuff like that. Um, and
Right.
I'm happy she
Right.
told me about it because as I got older, I saw that concussion movie and looked into it and stuff like that. Although it's like with American football, all
Oh yeah.
these
Shit.
things, right? That and this is more like podcast and less question. All these things that a lot of you are kind of like concerning yourself with. Um, Most of these things don't have longevity, and I hate to say this, right? Just look at a lot of like the golden age bodybuilders now, like, and we don't know what would happen with the huge craze of people who are doing powerlifting at a non. What I would say is that I have no issue with powerlifting as a sport, but there's a huge craze with it right now that you will see people doing extremely terrible form. And I know there's this huge debate that doing things with bad form doesn't actually affect you or stuff. We're gonna find out in years to come, right? When people aren't
Mm.
teenagers, when they are, post middle age, when they are in their so-called golden years of their life, the damages that you've done to your body now, you'll be able to see.
Mm.
And if you're not actually competing, I forgot who it was. There was this power lifter that said it. I forgot. Oh gosh. Basically he said that don't lift heavy if you don't do the sports. I think he said something like that, simple, straight and forward.
Wow.
Like if
Yeah.
you're not actually doing the sport, there's no point in you lifting heavy. And
Yeah. I
in
mean,
some sense it makes sense because if you think about it on like a logical sense, like let's say you've reached your natural peak, and let's say you look good, you look great, you feel healthy, you feel great about yourself. If you don't enjoy lifting heavy, if it causes more damage, more likely to get injuries, takes you away from lifting or going to the gym that you actually authentically enjoy in general, why lift heavy if you're not actually doing it as a sport, right? Because even people who train the sport don't tend to lift heavy consistently. Most of them even say that they always save like their what do you call it, their max RPE for the actual one rep max for their meets,
mm,
right? But yeah,
once a
that's just
year.
like
Yeah.
general, more podcast ranting than question answering. And I just want to put it out there to the ethos that anybody who listens to it might save someone's life. Because was it last month or 2 months ago during summer there was this power lifter that, and I think it trended. He died when he was trying to do lift squats. And no offense to him and respect to him and credit to him and his family and stuff like that. Um, Imagine dying lifting
Yeah.
heavy weights just to record
It,
it for
it's
Instagram.
just
It's
it's
not
just
even,
is the juice worth the squeeze?
yeah,
Is it worth the risk? The thing
yeah.
is, each time because whilst humans are resilient and all sorts of things,
Mm,
sometimes you still think, what are you really getting for this? Are you getting an ego boost? Are you putting on TikTok and Instagram for some clout?
mm,
It also goes for all sorts of illicit supplements people are taking. Like, is it worth it for a bit of clout on the internet? We don't know that, and the same thing, we don't know what these things are going to do to you later on down the line.
mm,
It's a risk, and I always say you only get one body,
mm,
so it just gets to a point where you need to think the health side of it, and it tends to be a few years in when you've stopped the beginner gains. It's time to start thinking about the actual health side of it.
mm.
And say I've been living 14 years. How many people out there how many people do you know if you're a bit older who went through a gym phase and then fell out of it? Like people just maybe start going to gym at university to go a couple of years and it just completely falls off the
And they
radar
got like a
completely.
dad bod and stuff like that, yeah.
And it's always, oh, I used to lift this and I used to do that. It's like, yeah, cool, man, but like your life should be enhanced by lifting and being fit and healthy
Mm,
throughout. Like you should be thinking, hopefully, lifting for the next 50 years. Like I'd
mm.
love to do that.
Mm.
So there's always another chance. There's always another time to max out, but there's not always a time to have an extra, knee joint, for example, or like
Or I have like hip
just got to think it's all
replacements
just
because
a
I
squeeze.
have a feeling that there's going to be like a huge increase of hip replacements and stuff like that happening once this generation of teenagers reach their golden years, especially the ones that fall into like
100%.
the TikTok craze and all these other stuff.
It's going to be a
Um,
new housing category for it, for like bionic people. It'll be fine. It'll be cool. Looking
yeah,
forward
by
to it.
then everyone will be like AI.
Looking forward
They've
to
already
it.
started with Chat GVT with like the consciousness. Next thing is the actual physical, limbs and
Enhancements.
stuff like that. Yeah. Cool. Back to questions. Sorry about that. Did we miss a question? What was the last
I've got a
question?
question for Cheeky.
Okay.
What's in your opinion? It's a prime time to hit gym/grind hard. The best time to start the gym is probably about 10 years ago. The second best time to start is now. So
Mm,
I think any time is a good time to start if you haven't started already. I think you should start, ideally, you should start from a child, you should be doing moving, doing sports and stuff, hitting the gym really hard. I would wait until after puberty, really. I don't think you should be doing super heavy lifting as, a young teenager, really. I think you haven't really got the mental capacity to know what's good and what isn't. I think you need a bit of guidance for that. If you're fully guided, that's great. Heavy, I mean, basically barbell lifts. I think they're fine under supervision, but I think machines, young teens, you can start machines if you want to. But I think as you hit 18 into your early 20s and beyond, I think it's the prime time to be hitting the grind and build all the muscle then because your body's done all the natural growing it's going to go. I don't think weightlifting impedes your growth, but I think there's so much else going on. I think you should let your body sort itself out. You should be moving, doing exercise, cardio, bodyweight exercises, and maybe a few bands. I think once you get to 18 into your early 20s, it's the prime time to really get those gains going forward. Not like you see on TikTok with this 12-year-old who's, 200 pounds jacked natural, of course, which you see all the time, which just completely skews everyone's perspective to everything and really unhealthy, in my opinion. Which again goes to the point of don't compare yourself to anyone, especially not on the internet. I'm so glad that when I started lifting, we only had these crappy T Nation forums and Sup and Barbell and stuff. We didn't have.
bodybuilding.com or whatever.
Yeah, man, my first routine was from bodybuilding.com, and it
Yeah, I
was
still have
looking
my
back, it was
profile.
absolutely
I
horrific.
need to log in
It
back to
was
my profile. Yeah.
it's such a looking back, I thought about the other day, the absolute meme of the first weightlifting program I did,
Mm.
and the irony of it, it was a it was a routine someone had submitted for a design your own program competition. It had won that one, and like the irony of me doing that.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Looking back, it was
Yeah, I used
absolutely
to have like
awful.
really weird stuff when I first started.
Oh, it was one day was doing 4x8, the next day was 5x5, and the other day was 3x12. I thought this is great. All the rep ranges, this can be really good. This guy knows what he's talking about. He won the competition on bodybuilding.com in like 2012,
Yeah,
2010. This guy knows that he knows his stuff. Random user 4382 with no profile picture. Uh,
yeah. I used to get my advice because when I first, well, I mean, I was running track mostly, but when I first started going to the gym, like my mom didn't want to fund it because she was scared that I would die. So I used to do my paper round when I was like 12 or whatever, and the guy from the newsagent used to go to the local gym, which was like across from his newsagent, but at the top
right.
floor. I used to get my advice from him, and he was giving me like bro splits advice and stuff like that. But I did progress fairly fast, but
Yeah, anything really. If you
but
work hard.
yeah,
If you
it
work
was
hard, it's the main thing.
yeah the bro splits. I don't know. I think that's the funniest thing because I always get this question like asked a lot in the server. Like, someone would DM me, it's like, oh, I asked this question, but this person said this and this other person said this. What's the correct answer?
Yeah.
It's like so many things
Hmm.
can work, but I think that's all purpose of the name of the community, which is like effective fitness, right? There's so many ways that you can be fit. Like even if C-bomb, like person like men's classic physique champion, is it 2 or 3 times now, is
Hmm.
saying stuff like, he's got a great physique, but he doesn't think he's like his goals are healthy, or no one should be looking up to him. If he's saying that, there's obviously a way that you can be fit and also unhealthy, right? So just don't
Yeah.
fall into the category of thinking like, oh, okay, just because I have an amazing aesthetics, that I'm also healthy as well. And I always like to say, like, this also probably goes segues into like Kiki's question and stuff like that. When it comes to like the prime age of like hitting the gym hard, I would never really suggest people to. Now that I'm looking back at it, as a teenager, I wanted to go, but I can start to see it's a weird thing. Like when you get older, you can start seeing things from your parents' perspective.
Mm.
I can start seeing things from my mom's perspective. Although I went to university, I did D1 track, I did all of that. Now I'm like 26, right? Um, After
Come on.
that, like what's next, right? I like let's say
Hmm.
let's say
Hmm.
I did the equivalent for powerlifting, right? I peaked at like 19 in uni for track. Let's say it was the equivalent with powerlifting. Let's say the same thing happened. What next, right?
I peaked at 20
Yeah, now I just now yeah,
10
basically
years
now I
ago.
just work like a desk job, right? So I'm just trying to think about people who have injured themselves in their teenage
Yeah,
years for
yeah,
something
yeah,
that would have
100%.
they would have peaked at like 21 or whatever. They spend more time in like either in debt or like health insurance and all these other stuff, just trying to fix or recover themselves, just to work a desk job for because
Hmm.
you're older longer than you're younger. If you think about it,
Yes,
so
much
it's
longer.
yeah. So what I would normally suggest to people, just to answer that question, focus on the sport, right? And I always give that advice. And if anybody is like in their teenage years, always ask me a question like this fitness or gym related, like most of the time, let's be honest, like if you're a teenager and interested in the gym, it's because of vanity, it's because of like physiques and stuff like that. And if you want to get a good physique, you can always get a really good physique from a sport. If you look at volleyball athletes, from like the female lens, they have amazing physique. If you look at long jump athletes from like the female sense, they have amazing physique. Tennis players as well. If you look at it from like the male sense, and you're looking at track athletes, people who run like 100-meter sprints and stuff like that,
Sprinters, yeah, man.
yeah, they have amazing physique, and you look at some of their lifts, and it's like not that amazing in comparison to what they look like, right? And that's like, what I'll say is like think about your goal, think about longevity, and think about what you truly want. If you really want to look good, quote unquote, hitting the gym hard, it's not really worth it. Focus on the sport. You do really well in the sport, you can get scholarships, you can get internships. Maybe you don't peak at 20, maybe you actually go like national and international, and there's so much money involved, right? I was recently watching the David Beckham. This is more podcast less question. The David Beckham documentary on Netflix. He was
I want to see that.
yeah,
That's
it's
good.
really, really good. His dad was like a fan of Man United, and he was very antisocial in school, and he spent most of his free time just like playing football, and either in his back garden, or by himself, and then he joined the club, and and things just started working out for him, and you never know, right? Just imagine if someone like that like got into like a fitness craze, got injured, you never would have had like Bend It like Beckham and stuff like that. But just yeah, focus on the
Exactly.
sports. And crazy, like he was like 18 and his first what do you call it? First pay out of like nowhere was like 50K, just like that. Imagine getting 50K. I think most of you guys are like teenagers. Imagine 50K, and that's not debt to go to university. Just 50K just for kicking a ball, right? And not even actually being the best player. It's just like crazy. But yeah, that's a good documentary that I'll suggest all teenagers that in the server to watch. Netflix, David Beckham documentary.
Not sponsored.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a female equivalent. But yeah, cool. Nice question from Randomir. Oh, Chris, unfortunately, I have a sore throat. You might have to read this one.
Oh, unfortunate. Here we go. I forgot. Oh, it's not a question. It's just news. I'll
Oh,
report it anyway. It's fine. Oh, I forgot to tell you bad news. Bad news. I pulled my hammy 2 months ago. I'm still scared to return to sprinting till I fully regain my hammy strength. It's still weaker than my right, but it's getting closer now. I did dumb move by sprinting when I was already moderately sore and had a lack of sleep during the time full of caffeine.
a random
Not
name
smart.
or Radonami. Sorry to hear,
Random.
dude. Just focus on rest and recovery. Um, that's the best thing you can
Oh, I
do.
want to
And
add,
I always
sorry. I
forget.
want to jump in.
Mm,
It's reminded me. Tom Martin was a sprinter to start with. You know Tom Martin?
let me just quickly Google it. Is he a football player?
No, 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 no. Just
So,
put in Tom Martin deadlift.
Tom Martin deadlift.
He was a sprinter and he went into powerlifting afterwards. He's pretty good. Moderately
Oh,
strong
I've
guy.
seen this guy in so many montages. But
Yeah,
yeah, I never even know who he
he,
is. Wow.
he's a moderately strong guy. I remember reading his full training log on Sugden Barbell, but he's just absolutely freakish. But he used to be a British championship level sprinter like years ago. They went into powerlifting.
Oh wow. How old is he now? Wait. Second place reps. Oh wow.
He's just
400
freakishly strong.
402 kg.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's freakishly strong. Like, unbelievably strong. But he was, as I think you guys talk about sprinting, he was a sprinter. He progressed into powerlifting after that. It's just
Okay, that's nice.
monstrous. Like, size of him now, I didn't realize he's absolutely ridiculous
Yeah,
now.
it is huge. I'm looking at his Instagram. Those
Mhm.
traps go on for days, just so people can see what we're looking at. For the stream, this guy, and then for the Discord, this guy. Cool. Kiki has a question. Do you have any tips for new runners? Short distance, long distance. What specifically? What's your goal, or is it just like just jogging in general?
Also read this.
Because if it's short distance, and this is a weird thing to
If it's
say.
just,
I don't want to say it.
you gotta say it now.
The funny thing is that I always have to I always have to joke about it, but I technically at uni I did used to do it's unofficial CrossFit, but I don't know why people
Right.
it gets so much. I never did the pull-ups, but just like a lot of wait, I'm trying to. Oh, okay, just cardio. Don't worry, I don't need to. Don't need to
I'm gonna
get
get my
myself
cardio leveled up,
completely
and I want to
destroyed.
get right faster. Okay, Kiki. Yeah. So my suggestion is to start some zone 2 cardio. If you're running, I think you should try. So for getting good at running, you want to have a wide base. So a wide base, and then you have a high peak, which is the peak is how fast you can go. So getting some slow state cardio in. Into sprints is fine. Yeah, it's great. But I recommend starting from doing some zone 2 cardio. I like incline walking. Keep saying it again and again, 3 or 4 times a week. Slowly build that up, and that'll give you a strong base. And from then, trying to transition into some faster runs and to some sprints after that. So try to build a wide base and build the conditioning of your legs to start with. Because if you start running out of nowhere, that's when injuries happen. So start slow, build a big base there, get very fit, and then add sprints into it as you go there. I remember in bodybuilding. I remember hey, do you know Brian Turner, I think. Is it Brian Turner on Instagram? The vegan guy.
Brian Turner, vegan powerlifter. Long curly hair, looks a bit like Jon Snow. Is that him?
Yeah. Yeah, do you remember, you know him roughly? I remember reading his first bodybuilding log on bodybuilding.com, like his first training log when he started training in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And that was like 15 years ago or so. And it's just really funny to remember reading his stuff then and how obviously he's massive in vegan stuff now.
Oh, well, this website's changed. Let me see if I can do as like a closing just to open up my bodybuilding account and maybe as a podcast exclusive.
Oh,
Oh gosh, what passwords would I have used in the past? To be honest, I was still using it when I was 19, so. How do I manage? Everything's changed. Where's the forum? It just takes me to the shop. Right, let me just Google this. Bodybuilding forum.
I'm gonna find this. I gotta find it. I think this is the second one.
Okay, so wait, let's see. Does it take me to my profile? Wow, some weird person messaged me. Well, I don't want to be mean. Oh gosh, I hate all these pictures.
I mean, you can't say that. I'm
my
not sure.
gosh. Right, let me just quickly share. I think the streamer can see it if anyone's watching on the stream. I'll just really remove this image quickly. Bro, I never even achieved any of my goals. Whatever.
Oh, feels bad, man. Feels bad.
No, I added it, but I never actually whatever. I'll just quickly screen share, actually window share, so I don't share anything I don't want to share. Which screen is this? This no, that's OBS. This is this. I think. Okay, there we go. Podcast exclusive. You can also see people who are spamming me DMs. Okay, there we go. This was my bodybuilding.com thing. As you can see, 2017, I was still in a fairly pretty good shape. I always used to say
Yeah,
to
not
people,
bad.
never really, so young, when my beard was starting to come in, never really compare yourself with other people. Gosh, I hate all these pictures. And I literally have the same picture from Christmas
This is
as my
brave. This is
profile.
brave. It's good
But
luck. Bring it
yeah,
back.
yeah, Chris, it's your turn. It's your turn to share yours. How do I get to the rest of the pictures?
Man, I don't really have any photos of me, to be honest. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah.
podcast exclusive. There you go. That's the wait, let's see. No. Progress photos, a gallery. Oof. How dangerous is this gonna be? Let's see. Did I even post like that? I didn't really. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, just body pictures back. This was in the uni dorm. Oh, 2017. Jesus Christ, that was a long time ago. But yeah, there we go. That's all the progress you get from my shitty iPhone. I think that's I think that's a good closing, right? But yeah,
I think I'm happy. It's a strong conclusion.
yeah. The weird thing is, you know what's so funny about that forum back in the day? I always used to think that if I was famous, because this is like, I think Twitter was still popular, way long before X came. TikTok never existed. I think did Vine exist back then? I don't know. I just felt like I was like, if I can get successful on this platform at least, things will work out. And then uni hits. I could barely make training at freaking athletics training. And I got shouted at, and I had to quit it like after 2 years in second year of uni because I was messing up so anyone who feels like they're messing up in life, I messed up at every single thing. Like, couldn't keep up with like my scheduled training, couldn't keep up with university, and then the worst thing happened. I just crashed, and I spent most of my time in my dorm, or just hanging around with like dorm mates, like you know, drinking the devil's juice and inhaling the devil's lettuce. But yeah, luckily, my mom put me back on the right track, and just to give anyone motivation, you can mess up for like 2 or 3 years of your life and still turn out all right. But yeah, that's a good way to
More,
close. Does anybody have anything else to close? Random name, you are welcome. Kiki, what are your opinions on refeed days? I think Chris can answer that.
Okay, so I don't think refeed days really have a place in your diet unless you are on a like bodybuilding prep condition. Really, I think if you need refeed days, you're probably depriving yourself too much on the other days. So I would rather have your calories be more consistent throughout the week rather than having super high, super low days. So refeeds, if you need them, if they're structured, or if you're if you're going to have like a prolonged cut and quite a heavy cut, maybe you want to have free feed day every month or so. But just be aware that you need to be calories still count on those days. You don't want to offset the damage you've done, the progress you've made by doing one bad day. But generally, for fat loss diets, I don't include refeed days because I'd rather you just have a more sustainable diet throughout the rest of the week than have a refeed day.
Perfect. Are there any more questions? In closing, I'll just let Chris plug as much as he wants. Feel free to outro yourself, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure. So I'm still Chris here. I'm currently helping gamers and streamers with their fitness, but I'm also happy to help everyone else. I'm trying to write an article every day currently on my website, which is linked in the chat comment, I think. I'm also trying to produce some audio content every day, so be patient with that because I hate doing that. Any questions you've got, please hit me up, tag me in the forum if you want, or save the questions for another time we have the chat on stream. And thank you again for having me. It's a great place to be.
Perfect. Really great to have you, Chris. You're amazing. And shameless plug, guys. Like, follow, share, do all the cool stuff. If you don't do any of that, just follow us on Instagram. We've got a new post with David Goggins. Well, not with, but a new motivation post that David Goggins did that we... Whatever, I'm just gonna sound like I'm stealing his content. We've got a new post. It's very motivational.
New post. New post.
New post. Go like it. Go subscribe. Whatever. Bye.